She's alive. Alive!
Right, we're a little late to the party, but Gene Hackman died.
He did.
But I don't mind being late to the party, because we have the information.
Full story.
Do you know what my instant worry was, right? When I saw what had happened, I got an instant flashback to Chris Benoit. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, two people die in the one house in this kind of circumstances. It's something fucked up had to have happened. And my instant reaction was like, oh no, this is like Chris Benoit. But then I kind of stopped, took a breath, and I was like, well, Gene Hackman's in his 90s.
Yeah.
This is more like this could, if it's a tragedy of that type, it would be more like Vern Gagne's tragedy. Vern Gagne, it was a major promoter. Like, he was the last holdout against Vince McMahon in the territory wars, right?
Yeah.
And Vern would have trained guys like Ric Flair.
Okay.
Like all the greats. Hulk Hogan would have been a Vern Gagne guy. But that's how Vince took him out. He started, picking off all his top superstars and giving them better contracts. And eventually, Vern had to fold. But Vern, in his older age, got dementia. And when he was in a nursing home, he body slammed another 90-year-old man and killed him. Right. And it was just a thing of, whatever happened in his head. He was back in the ring, and he body slammed this old guy and killed him. And then I thought maybe that's what happened, because they said Gene Hackman had Alzheimer's in the end. I was like, maybe he accidentally, because I know you'd be thinking feeble old man, but I can tell you from experience that when my grandfather had dementia, my mother said his strength was something else. Because I was like, he's an old man. Why don't you just go in there and do what you need to do? He was like, you go in there and try it. Yeah. He is fucking it's immense strength that he has.
Yeah.
So that was my first thought, that maybe in an Alzheimer's state, maybe he did something accidentally, maybe pushed her over, knocked her over, and that's what happened. Because they were like, it's kind of suspicious, but it's kind of not suspicious. We don't know what to do with it. Now we know what happened.
Yeah.
And it's sadder than
it is
than we thought. So what was it? She had a heart problem, is it?
Yeah.
Her name was...
So her name was Arakawa. Am I saying that right?
I don't know. See, I'd never heard of her. She was some sort of artist, was she, or a writer?
Yeah. So she died first, and then he died. Was it a week after her?
She's a classical pianist. And they were dated. They had dated for 7 years before they got married in 1991. So they've been together a very long time.
A long time, yeah. She died on the 11th of February, and then the last date on his pacemaker that picked up an abnormal heart rhythm then was the 18th of February.
So essentially what happens here is she dies of natural causes, just this absolutely out of nowhere kind of fucking thing that they couldn't really be prevented. Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome.
Exactly.
And you were saying that there isn't really any cure for this, is there?
There is not. It's basically it's a respiratory disease. But there's leakages in your lungs and stuff like that, in tiny little vascular leakages.
I wonder.
And there's no, I think you can manage it, but I don't think you can.
Because they said there was a bunch of pills found around her and they scattered around her. I wonder, did she know she had a problem and she was going to get her pills?
She was getting something
and panicking and trying to give in to her, or was she getting his pills ready and then fucking collapsed? Because obviously his death will be related to the fact that there was no one there taking care of him for the next week.
Well, yeah, there was nobody there reminding him to take his tablets.
Around. He was alive for about a week, was it? With her dead body
7
inside
days.
the house.
Yeah.
But in that state, and again, from telling you from experience, from being around somebody with Alzheimer's, they wouldn't know any different. They'd be, at that stage, at that level. I mean, he's lucky enough to get you see someone who's lucky enough to physically get to their 90s. They're doubly lucky if they can keep all their faculties going at that age. So I mean, obviously in his 90s on his own, and they say that in the final months he was kind of neighbors and friends say that they'd kind of cut off communication with family and friends. Right, they toned down, so they hadn't been found in quite a while. Which is
exactly. Well, he was dealing with a lot. He had heart disease, kidney disease, Alzheimer's.
Well, again, he was 95.
95.
So, I mean, a good, long, solid life, to be fair. And to be honest, until his dying day, he was with a woman 30 years his junior. I'm sure he was enjoying himself.
Probably.
And they made a nice big deal out of him at the Oscars, because that was literally a few days later, wasn't it?
Yep. So, I think
unfortunately for us horror people, though, they didn't make a big fucking deal about some of our people.
Tony Todd.
Tony fucking Todd.
Yeah.
Whatever about anything else, right? I mean, I'm not 100% sure what Olivia Hussey's been in outside of Black Christmas. All right, I haven't seen a whole
in
pile
Romeo
of
and
Death on the
Juliet, a
Nile.
really famous version of Romeo and Juliet when she
Romeo
was
and Juliet.
younger. Yeah.
And she was skipped over. But Tony Todd is like a staple. Everybody knows who Tony Todd is. Tony Todd has been in a little bit of fucking everything. Like,
Yep.
how do you miss Tony Todd? And I said it to you afterwards. I was like, realistically,
Mm-hmm.
in this day and age,
Mm-hmm.
when you're not required to keep notes and records by pen and paper, when it's a quick Google search of celebrities who died this year, do you know,
Oh,
how
yeah,
do they
yeah.
miss anybody?
Yep.
And I mean, really, how many celebrities are going to die in a year that it's like, we need to cut this and make it shorter?
Yep.
Do you know, it's like, no. You miss like maybe 5 or 6 people.
They missed
So,
Bernard Hill as well, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's like, seems huge. Michelle Trachtenberg, who died
I know that was only like
literally-
a few days beforehand, but how
But
much
so
of an
Gene
effort
Hackman, it
is
was
it
literally
to put
a-
her name
well,
up on screen? Like,
That's it.
you know?
It is like a day or two after Gene Hackman was it? A day
Mhm.
or two before Gene Hackman. It's the same week.
It was after.
If
It
you
was,
have
it was
time to get
closer
G-
to the Oscars than Gene Hackman was.
No, I will
think.
admit, like I said to you, I was like, well, realistically, with Gene Hackman's age and what he's done in the business,
Mhm.
realistically, they probably had a reel ready to go for him for quite a while.
yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
like as soon as that man turned 90, they were probably like, we'd probably better have
But
something.
the
prep.
one that really shocked me because they knew the woman was sick for a long time. Shannon Doherty.
Yeah.
That
It's a
is
weird one.
mind blowing. Like,
And yeah, and again, it's not. I mean, like I know most people remember her from like Charmed and Beverly Hills 90210 and all that kind of shit, but she still made some
Mhm.
good movies. Like she was in The
Mallrats.
Heathers, she was in Mallrats. You know,
Mhm.
they're just really strange ones to just be left out. Like, you know, I just don't feel like you should be leaving any actor out. I mean, if they're a part of any classic movie or TV
is
show,
it because they honored her at the Emmys and she's more of a TV actress?
who gives a fuck?
But I'm
What
just
does
wondering,
one
was
more
that what
second
they're
of
going
TV
to say
time
though?
gonna
Like,
kill you, like, you know.
yeah,
For
yeah.
someone who gave their life and career to your business, you know, I just don't think it's. I mean, Tony Todd still just baffles me.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you want, but Candyman is probably one of the most artistically, you know, beautiful movie to watch. Like, you know,
But it is. It's passionate. It's scary. Well, I mean, I just love that movie.
it's such a fucking weird one. We watched some good ones this week.
We did.
One last night that we watched was, we'd been waiting to watch it for quite a while. I don't know why we didn't actually know what it was going to be about, and that was I Saw the TV.
I like going into movies not actually knowing what they're about because that's when I get the most from movies.
And let's not lie to everybody, when the movie was over,
We're
we
still
still
out.
weren't quite sure what we had just watched.
I understand it. I understand it now.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. The whole thing is that now that I've like read what the director wanted us to understand. But once it was like I said to you, I was like, I think I had a bit of an inkling what they were
Yeah.
going for.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, because when you were like, because at one point you were like, no, she's definitely right. There's another world. That's what this is. He just needs to get to the other world. He's actually wrong. He is actually dying. And in my head, I was like, no, this is just two people dealing with a shitty situation in a crazy kind of way together.
But he is psychologically
that's what
dying.
we're
Like
seeing.
he's
But yeah, but
being-
that's what it turns out to be. For people who have, again, remember, when it comes to us, it's all spoilers. We don't hold anything back. If you haven't seen the movie, skip on.
Skip on.
But the whole movie is apparently about transgenderism and the two of them being stuck in a backwards kind of hick town where they wouldn't be accepted. And she leaves to become and buries her old self to become her new self and to become the man she wanted to be or whatever it is because they never really specify whether it's a they, them or she kind of situation. But she does come back with short hair and a leather jacket and a pants in more masculine clothing.
It's more androgynous, I'd say. Yeah.
And then on the other side, you have Owen, who is, seen in certain flashbacks wearing a dress, but it's never really specified.
But the fact that he wants to watch the Pink Opaque as well, his father questions him.
And
He's
that's
not
it,
like,
yeah,
is
that's
it not a
actually a small
girl's
line,
TV
yeah,
show?
it's a
And
girl's
it's a
TV
very
show.
throwaway line,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
have to listen to what's being said. Like.
And the difference is she goes away to live her life as her true self, whereas he is so repressed and held down by the stereotypical view of the world of what the male stereotype is and the female stereotype is, that he stays where he is and he stays trapped within that that world forever, and it's killing him. You know, slowly killing him to be trapped in this reality he doesn't want to be in.
Yeah.
But it does open up your eyes then as well to the claustrophobia someone like that might be feeling in an area like that, you know?
Absolutely.
Because I think they definitely have more freedom in the sense of being able to do it nowadays, you know, because obviously that's set in the 90s. But I mean, like, if we live in a small rural village. If some guy suddenly started wearing girls' clothes tomorrow and walking on a village, you wouldn't think twice about it. We wouldn't look twice at it. You'd just be like, fair play. You know, I'm sure there'd be people slagging him, people laughing and stuff like that. But I don't think any physical harm will come to someone. I don't think anything would stop you from doing it here. I don't think it would be to that degree of once a few of the older farmers got over the shock of seeing you once, that would be it, like, you know.
Oh, come here. I have pink hair, and some of the older farmers down the village still get a kick out of ridicule. It's a hair colour, like, but there's a certain generation that it still be like,
our
you know,
pharmacist finds the way I dress hilarious.
I love our pharmacist though.
Every time I walk in, like, especially during the summer, especially because obviously I'd be wearing a different horror t-shirt or band t-shirt, and he'd be like, "Oh, what's that today? Misfits? Oh, brilliant!" And you start asking me about
so nice,
you know, with the ripped up jeans and everything on me, and I suppose you don't see many 37-year-olds.
Just outed yourself.
But and it's not to soften it. Like, what I'm saying is, it's a very, you can feel the claustrophobia throughout the movie. Like, you can feel the fucking.
But even when he starts screaming when he's in
the kids' party,
and imagine like screaming that loud that you need help, and still nobody is fucking paying attention to you. Everything, like, the time has stopped still for you, and still nobody is giving you like that like, I mean.
But again, they say that like when he's leaving the place and he's apologizing to everyone, and he's chosen again to try and cover up what he is. Like, he's opened himself up, he's seen what he is, and his reaction is to cllose everything back up again and get out of there and go out and apologize to everyone. But nobody's making no one's acknowledging him, no one's looking at him. He just, I'm sorry.
Do you think he felt happy for her? Because it wasn't a depressed look in his face coming out. I felt that he had like a very determined look in his face when he came out, and he was apologizing. It was different, kind of carried himself differently. But you think he was just he was happy for her? I was like, you know, she was right. She's, you know, like.
But I don't.
I just felt like when he was walking out, I don't think he was going to bury himself. I thought he was kind of holding himself kind of differently when he came out of the bathroom. He was apologising, but it was a change in him from when he saw what was in the mirror to when he was walking out. Like, he wasn't like...
I think the fact that...
like, oh, I'm sorry. He was like, I'm sorry. Do you know, it was a change in his posture. He's still apologising.
She specifically tells him at one point in the movie, don't apologise. He turns, he looks at her, and he goes, I'm sorry. When he gets the meaning of the movie wrong, or the TV show wrong, he's like, I didn't understand it, I'm sorry. And she was like, don't apologize. So I took that as that when he was apologizing in the end, that's the thing that my mind went straight to, was that scene. She's like, don't apologize. And he's walking. I felt like it was a complete downer of an ending, because it's like, she got away, yeah.
I'm not saying it wasn't a downer of an ending. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying the way he carried himself coming back out of the toilets, I don't think he carried himself happier, but was it not a thing of maybe it was, she was right. She got out of here. She became who she wanted. She was going back into his own life, and apologizing for himself. But I felt that there was like a tiny bit of a difference in the way that he carried himself coming out of that bathroom.
That
maybe a part of him was okay for her. She was gone off, like, you know, like she became who she wanted to be. But like, he was gone back into himself. He is gone around, you know, like, for him, he's gone back into...
the two of us are looking at the movie in very different ways. And I think that's fine, because that's how movies should be. You're looking at the movie as in all the fantasy shit that was happening on the screen actually happened. And I'm looking at it as in it was all a delusion of his eyes and his head, so that they whereas when he saw what it, like...
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, no, I'm not saying that all this stuff actually happened. It's all this stuff for him psychologically is making sense, but she realizes that she had the strength to become what she wanted to be.
Yeah, but he says that halfway through the movie.
But I'm saying, is that the change in him that I'm seeing when he's coming out of the toilet? Like, because like, she's right.
I didn't see anything. All I felt like from him was just almost more like, it's worse now because you know what you fucked up and missed out on, and you're still deciding to hide it. You're still, you know what it is now. And I feel like it's the equivalent of maybe like someone who, like, a person who runs around saying they're straight all their life, but always thinking they might be gay, and then finally clicking in their head and saying, "Oh, I'm gay," and then being afraid to tell everybody and going back to playing the straight person for everybody going forward. And I think that's what he's after doing. It's like, I am transgender. I can now finally admit 100% to myself, looking in this mirror right now and looking at my body, I am transgender. But I still can't make this change. I went too far. I've come too far. I have a family. I have a life. I have a thing. And people expect this of me. And it would be weird to be doing. He covers it all back up. He puts his top back on. And what really stood out to me was not just that he put his shirt back on, but he put his work vest back on.
Everything.
And that told me, like, the minute I saw the work vest go back on, I thought to myself, well, he isn't leaving the situation. No. And I think it was almost like, to me, it was like, no, you know what you are, but you're still afraid to take that step and be who you are. And that's what I found sad for him, was that he's going to be stuck there. And now we know he's nearing the end of his life, and it's too late for him.
Yeah.
And because he was too afraid to take that plunge with her back at the right time when he could, you know, but he was still kind of stuck. Now, obviously, I think maybe the proper time for him to take the plunge was maybe when his father died, and he's like, and that's when I decided to become a man, and he bought himself a flat screen TV.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
Can't get your head stuck in that one.
But like, you know, but that's kind of what I took from it. The director agrees more with you.
Okay.
The director's attitude is, no, it is a positive ending.
I felt it was a positive ending. That's my thing. There is a visible difference in the way he walks out that bathroom. Like I said, I know I said it 4 or 5 times. The way he carries himself. It's like, do you know the way when you see Clark Kent and Superman? And it's like that. It's very, 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 like you said.
I get
like,
what you're saying.
And that's what I felt when he walked out. I don't think it was all positive. I still
apologizing
think
instantly cancelled out anything.
I understand.
The apologizing dominated the scene.
It's not a positive ending, but there is like a hint of hope in the ending for me, and it's the way he translates it, in the way he even apologizes, even the way he says it out.
I think the fact that he apologizes at all shows that he hasn't actually.
We can agree to disagree, but for me, that's what I took from it. Like,
well, for me, it was a case of as soon as he started apologizing, it showed that he wasn't able to get over that hump, because she had said to him earlier, "Don't apologize." And here we are 30 years, 40 years later, and he is literally last seen as him walking through an entire room full of people going, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." So it wasn't, but he'd never moved past that point. He was the first time he had watched The Pink Opaque and realized what it was he was on the road towards. The first time he realized what he wanted to truly be, and he couldn't get past that. And when he was told by the only person who understood him not to apologize, he then went on, and at the end of the movie, his last words were just, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and hunched over and looked at me. And I get what you mean. I kind of saw it, kind of did it, because when he did look like, I thought he looked like a man on a mission, like he was going to go do something.
But like now he knows he has, like, maybe it's reinforced into his head now that he has a choice. He has a choice now. He knows that. Do you know, like, you know.
I don't know. Like I said, it was like when he came out for me and walked out first. Yes, at first I thought the way he was walking that he was a man on a mission, a man with purpose. But the more he apologized, the more I realized the Sopranos ending was coming to us.
We didn't know. We didn't believe.
This. I was like, this isn't leading to an end act. This is the last scene. This is going to cut the black any second now. And then it will cut the black, and I was like, fuck. And it kind of drains you from it, because you're just like, oh. And it was cool because we didn't know what we were getting into going in, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a good movie. Obviously, a good movie for debate afterwards.
Yep.
Depending on who you debate it with.
Oh yeah.
Bring this up to the wrong person, and there could be trouble. But that led to another movie that we watched, because we had a movie night last night, and we ended up watching Sleepaway Camp, which is funny because we had that planned before we had planned to watch.
And then they mention it.
The TV Glow, and that in the Pink Opaque, the two meet at Sleepaway Camp.
Yes.
And we were going to watch a Sleepaway Camp, And mainly, there's a few reasons why we ended up watching Sleepaway Camp. One, my brother David has been making jokes about this movie to us for the best part of 6 months now. And keeps telling us why. But he was telling us it was like the worst movie ever. But he was like, you have to watch it. He's like, this is like fucking before its time. It's so bad. And I was like, I don't know what that means. But I was like, okay, so it's like a midnight movie for me. You know, it's going to be that kind of, because when I hadn't seen Sleepaway Camp to this point, because to me, I just thought it was going to be like Friday the 13th knockoff. And those kind of movies sometimes for me are kind of like late night fucking binge watching nasty movies, you know? I love that. But for me, like these kind of horror movies are ones I'll watch in the middle of the day as comfort movies. Like, and that's just because as a teenager, I got control of the sitting room during the day. And no one will bother me, and I can watch these kind of movies during the day and then chill out. So nostalgically, sometimes I like to just like close the curtains and chill out and watch these movies. Otherwise, it's like middle of the night kind of movies, because again, that was the time of night when I get my hands on the TV to watch something that I know nobody else in the house can see that I'm watching. So it needs to be late when everyone's asleep. If my mother walked in and saw all this blood, guts, and gore, she'd be like, turn it off. Back then, now she's super cool. She got cooler about it as it went along. Like by the time I was in my teens, I didn't give a shit what movies I was watching. They were more worried about fucking boobs and fucking vaginas than they were blood and guts, to be honest with you. I could watch a guy get hacked to pieces, but as soon as it went to the scene where the women jumped in the fucking pool skinny dipping before they got killed, and they'd be like, turn it off. Turn it off. But Sleepaway Camp turned out to be an absolute fucking blinder. I love it.
It's got a respectable rating on Rotten Tomatoes as well. I mean, like, it is a good movie.
Did not see the ending coming. I wasn't expecting a twist ending. I wasn't thinking about a twist ending. All I knew to fucking pay attention to, because the way we had watched it was, and the reason we ended up watching it last night was we had decided we were going to start watching Joe Bob Briggs. We'd never watched it before. And we literally started last week with the first episode. Can't tell you what the first episode was. I can't remember properly because we were half drunk watching it. And we were talking for most of the time. So we weren't actually paying attention to the first episode. But last night we sat down with all our junk food. Nerd gummies, which are absolutely amazing. Some Easter eggs. It was great. And we watched the episode 2 and it was Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
And he specified before the movie started, he said, to understand this movie, you got to pay a lot of attention to the first scene and a lot of attention to the second scene, or the last scene, or you'll be lost. And he said, just enjoy them. And I was really mindful of that. I was like, all right, what's happening in this first scene? And then the end scene is self-explanatory if you fucking pay attention to the first scene. But I just wasn't expecting a twist. I wasn't waiting for a twist. You thought it was
straight out like...
I thought, no. I'm in my head, and again, spoilers, but this came out in 1983.
They're not spoilers if it's more than like...
So I was like convinced that it was going, because my brother was going on about how bad of a movie it was. I thought like the twist was going to be something very simple, like they're playing up that Ricky is the killer, and it turns out to be Angela.
Okay.
And I thought that was just going to be the clear cut of, at the start, because I said that you halfway, like what, literally like 10 minutes into the movie, I was like, well, she obviously survived the fucking boat accident. She's one of the two kids. She survived the boat accident. Her brother died.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's kind of what they lead you to believe for most of it. And then, so I thought, like, for the most part, that the twist would rather be that you thought it was Angela, it was going to be Ricky, or you thought it was Ricky and it was going to be Angela. And then there's one scene which they would say is, again, it's a lot of mental kind of stuff. It is that kind of horror where it's cheap, so you don't actually see a lot of the kills. You see
sound. It's
like the girl getting killed in the fucking Meg getting killed in the shower. She's in the shower. Then you see somebody stabbed through the wall and sliced down, and she's actually up against the wall, but you don't actually see her get cut. She just makes the facial fucking expression, and then from behind the wall, you can see the blood coming out from behind the wall.
Yeah.
So you don't actually see skin getting ripped up. You just see these scenes that let you know people get killed. And that's fine. It was perfect. It was absolutely bang on. But we get to the end, and I'm like, there's a scene where this really bitchy girl in the camp gets, I I don't know, was it a curling iron or a hair straightener, but it goes right up the vajayjay. And just beforehand is the first glimpse you get of the killer face on.
Yeah.
So he's standing in the doorway. There's kind of like a flash behind him, like lightning kind of flash kind of thing. You could just about see him. And I was like, that's Ricky. And I was like, so it is Ricky. Ricky's the killer. But I was like, but what's with the, why does he suddenly have a fucking mullet? Like there's hair down the back of his neck that wasn't there before. I was like, what the fuck is that about? And I was kind of trying to think to myself, what's going on here? And then you fell asleep for the ending. And you woke up and I turned around, you turned around to me. She was like, so was she the killer? And I was like, well, here's the riddle. She is the killer, but she is not the killer. And you looked at me and you're like, what? Like, she is the killer, but she is not the killer. And you're like, what do you mean? And I was like, right. So Angela is the killer in Sleepaway Camp. But Angela was not the surviving girl from the start of the movie. In the start of the movie, there is like a little boy and a girl there with their dad and his boyfriend. And they're out in their boats and stuff like that, but they're out in the water. And these teens are messing around the speedboat, lose control, and they crash into the two little kids and the father. And we find out then that the father and one of the little kids were killed. Why didn't his partner take the other child?
Awful.
My God, I just remembered that dude was there.
Yeah, that point in time, he was going to the closest female relative.
So, I suppose 80s. So the man who dies, his surviving child, one of the children die and the other child is given to his sister to take care of. And his sister already has a son named Ricky. So when the surviving child comes to her, she says, we already have a boy in the house. A little girl would be nice. And at this point, after the accident, the kid's hair has all been taken off. There's got bandages around the top of his head. And the decision is that the surviving boy from the start will be raised as a girl called Angela. And again, funny enough, and you know what? That's why they used Sleepaway Camp in the I saw the TV Glow. Because Sleepaway Camp again is kind of like a bit of a narrative or a bit of a statement on trans as well. Because here's this kid who kind of at the time, no, again, this is really a hot topic. I'm not saying it this way. It's just at the time. Here's this kid who was told, okay, you're a girl, 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 and you're growing up confused, to the point that by the time they get to an older age, they don't really know what they are. And obviously the last scene is Angela naked and the counselor going, oh my God, it's a boy. And it flashed them. And the only bit of nudity in this movie is boys' butts and one weird penis.
See, I suppose it's a tiny bit different in that, they were forced to identify as what they weren't designated, like as opposed to like wanting to be a different sex.
Oh, yeah, completely different. But I mean, like,
but there still is those themes.
No, this would be obviously outdated because it's 1983 in their view of it. But I mean, like, 100%. Like, I mean, I think that if some of the more uptight Trumper kind of people got a hold of this movie and the narrative on it, they'd be like, see, this is what happens when you teach little kids about trans. No, don't get me wrong. I would say, I mean, you and me have discussed this, and again, maybe a hot topic, but the way I said it to you was like, if a kid in their teens thinks that they're trans, they should be allowed to dress whatever way they want. They should be allowed to wear whatever makeup they want. They should be able to call themselves whatever they want. But the surgery side should wait until you're over 18.
The surgery side does wait, I thought. I
mean, I think in certain cases in America, I think that's where the kick up is in America, that there's certain states where, if a parent agrees to it, it's okay to start transitioning. If you've gotten a psychologist, okay, and all this. And
I would have thought medically you're better off to wait till your body has stopped growing.
But see, my view on it is, I knew at 13 years of age, I wanted to be a man covered in tattoos. But if I had started getting those body modifications at 13, I'd look fucking ridiculous right now. Yeah. And I would regret a lot of it. Yeah. And it's not I found other ways to dress in the same manner of that kind of heavy metal image that I wanted, or that rock star punk kind of image that I wanted, or that wrestler kind of style. The way all my heroes dressed, but they were all tattooed. I knew I couldn't get that tattooed, but that's what I wanted to look like. That's what I wanted to sound like. That's what I wanted to be. So I could dress in it. I think that's all right in the trans thing, and I think that's the way they need to deal with it. Is there are steps to this shit, and the first step is while you're a kid or a teenager, you can identify and dress that way, but let's wait and do the chopping and the changing until your brain is fully functioning. You are 100% positive, proof positive you are an adult and you can make this decision. You know? But that's kind of what I would take from that. But to be honest, when it comes to a movie like Sleepaway Camp, I don't really look for really deep meaning like I did from how I saw the TV Glow. It's just not that kind of movie. No. It's just a fun fucking, this is a crazy fucking movie. And it was a fun story. And it was a nice twist on
a slasher.
Because I expected it to be straightforward slasher.
Yeah.
I didn't expect any sort of strange ending to this. I just thought one of them was going to be pointed out to be the killer and that would be it.
Yeah.
I did not expect the whole fucking weird Angela Goblin thing fucking looking up at you with you know, the big bush and sticking out there. According to the actress to play Angela, they hired like I think she was like just some student that was around the place, and they paid him for that shot, and he had to wear like an Angela mask. And they said they just got him really, really drunk, and she was like, that guy was like crying under that mask. It sounds really fucked up.
God.
And Joe Bob on the episode pointed out that it's one of the few slashers with no female nudity, but loads and loads. It's like the boys go skinny dipping, the girls don't. And the boys' butts are on show for the skinny dipping, and then obviously the only real nudity is Angela turning around at the end nude, but it's again a boy's body. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. I am going to watch the rest of them. I know she is in Return to Sleepaway Camp. I don't know how many of the other ones she's in, but we're going to check them out, and I am looking forward to it. Another good one we watched this week was Companion.
Getting late to the party there, but it was good. Yeah.
Well, look, it's...
We just don't, like between recording and everything.
We have a subject a week. So, you have the main subject of our actual show a week. And then there's all the side shit that goes with it. Like what bonus kind of material. So what killers might have influenced this movie.
Yeah.
What mythology might have influenced this movie. What happened behind the scenes of this movie. What happened marketing this movie. What were they acting? So we have to worry so much about this one movie and all the themes and things that go around it on top of your history podcast, my wrestling podcast. You're so busy that you don't really have a lot of time to sit down. So when we do, it's kind of like a movie night. Let's catch up and see what we can get in. But Companion was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
Again, I find this idea more scary than a lot of other movies out there, because it's like, her not knowing that she's just an AI robot.
What I find scary about it is that I don't think it's something that I thought about till we watched the movie. But like, if this becomes the norm, where do their rights start? Like, do you know that kind of way when the two tech guys were saying that, like, do you know, like, they collected an AI once that, do you know, like, it'd be kept in a basement.
That's like giving rights to a television.
But what I'm saying is, if this thing can feel pain and psychologically can feel pain, but like you have like these fuckers bringing them down into.
That was Jack Wade's constant point. Is like, you're not feeling the pain. You are programmed to think you're feeling it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter because she's told to keep her free will is turned down. Like, but if you have people like hiring out these robots to bring them down into basements to torture them, like, and they're programmed to think that they can feel pain, still that's an awful thing. Like,
it is an awful thing, but it's again like it's the same as like saying, should we give the Chucky and Tiffany dolls rights? Because Tiffany can fucking make facial expressions like she's in pain, and
no, that's different. That is different. That is different. These are purely mechanical. These are the like, do you know, like the whole concept of them. I know, but like the concept of them, but they still have like you could turn up their emotions. They still have that ability. I know that they're programmed emotions, like, but like, should it not be like
But when I play my WWE 2K game, I can also set strength and intelligence and speed. And any game I play, I can decide how hard or fast or intelligent my enemies are going to be.
All right. So you'd be one of the people that would think that it would be okay to bring one of these people down into...
I think this is terribly scary, and I
That's
watched
what
the
I'm
Terminator
saying
and
to
learned
you.
my lesson. It's the same reason I don't keep a monkey in the house. I've watched Planet of the Apes, and I understand the dangers here. People are stupid. I'm just saying that just because it looks very realistic does not mean your view is what will help the machines rise. You want to give rights?
No, I
to the
didn't say
Terminator.
rights. I said, where does that stop Beto? Okay, yeah. I said rights, but that's not what I meant. Where do you stop it? As in, okay, sorry, you cannot be doing that because you should probably be in jail because it's the same as getting like a
where do
pedophile
you look at it?
getting
I
like
agree
a
with
child
you.
sex doll.
I agree with you. But then, and I'm not agreeing with this either. This is just me playing devil's advocate here. What percentage of these robots who actually can't feel anything and are programmed to do these things would remove these threats from our streets? If a fucking person like Ted Bundy could just rent out something to do all the nasty, terrible shit that he would do to a real human being otherwise, is that not a better alternative?
Well, I think it should be used like Minority Report. So,
well, we can keep an eye on you because we see that you're up to this.
no, well, you've hired this doll and you've done this to this doll. What's to say that
And
you're not
so
going
keep
to...
an eye on you in case you escalate.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, I mean, obviously, whoever does something like that will be absolutely off. I couldn't do that to anything that looked anything real at all. Like, you know, I mean, I'm the kind of person that will be that thanks Alexa after she does something for me. No, don't get me wrong. I've also called her a thundering bitch from time to time.
Me and Alexa have many a row.
She got tick with me too. But,
oh yeah,
like,
she stopped talking
working.
to you for ages. She thanked me and have little like conversations with me, but she'd just be like, just do it and that's it.
But I mean, like, I don't think there's anything wrong. Obviously, you would look at a person who has a fake or a robotic partner completely made for their specifications as being very narcissistic.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of these incel people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And obviously, I think there will be a big side of it where people would look at you and be like, well, what's wrong with you that you can't have a real human contact? And those type of people, just like Jack Quaid in the movie, would turn around and be like, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You won't come near me. You women, you keep letting me down. You keep throwing away. Do you remember when he snaps at your one when she's taking the money she wants to leave? It's like, it's all the same with you women. You take what you want from me and then you leave. I mean, he is just playing an incel in this movie. You know, the ultimate incel.
Yeah.
But then you look at the other side of it and you see, what's his name? The guy that played, Harvey Gillen.
PM, yeah.
Gillen. His character and
Eli.
his companion.
Patrick and Eli.
And that's a completely different scenario because he seems to be completely fucking in love
Head
with his.
over heels for him, yeah.
And they have a
live
connection,
lovely
a
relationship.
connection to the point that the main companion that Iris, when she talks to his companion,
It doesn't
she's able to remind him of Eli. She's like, remember, and he's so like that love connection was there. And no, I think where your kind of discussion comes into things is more of like where she's at the end of the movie.
That's
When she is completely self-aware at that point where those rights and beliefs and all this come in. Like, you know, what's the difference between an artificial soul and a real one? You know, what's the difference between an artificial mind and a real mind? What's, you know, once it's thinking and making decisions for itself, it's sentient. And what do you do then?
I think I do agree with you that we need to be very, very careful. But I think where like the public are concerned, I mean.
No, I will just put your mind at ease. I've been hearing a lot in the last couple of weeks from various different other podcasts and articles I've read that the real like experts of AI have to say that people do not need to worry as hard as they are worrying right now. We are way off.
Ahead of the...
way off refining this. This is Wild West kind of shit at the moment. And I mean, you can see that when you use these apps and stuff like that to do art and writing and stuff like that they are still a bit fucking, you know, glitchy. They're like, from what you're thinking and what you're afraid of, we are miles away from that yet. And it's not something that we should be really worrying about. Like, you know, this thing of companion, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have weird sex robots, but they ain't going to be walking around the house and acting like it. You're not going to confuse them for a real person right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it is a really good movie. It's an entertaining movie, and it's a good kind of... And the thing about it is it just shows again how good Jack Quaid fucking is. Jack Quaid is the master of being charming as fuck 1 minute and an absolute lunatic or sleazy in the next. I mean, you see it in Scream and you see it again here, like where the start of the movie, you would be fawning all over the man, and then by the end of the movie, you just want to see him get his face smashed.
But he is a very endearing kind of guy as well in The Boys, like, do you know, as in...
But in The Boys, there's nothing bad about him. He's all good.
There's not. But then you see him in another movie and it's like, oh, well, Jack Quaid's in it, he's a bad guy.
Well,
because he plays such a good bad guy.
His next movie, he is clearly the good guy.
Oh,
that's
well, yeah, I saw that Novocaine. Yeah, I saw that trailer.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, but I do like him. Fast becoming one of my favorites.
Without a doubt, I absolutely fucking love him. Everything he's in is fucking brilliant. He's one of my favorite Ghostface. I mean, he's definitely in the top fucking 3 or 4. He's definitely, I mean, like you said, Fast becoming just one of my favorites. She's in a movie, it's worth watching. You see Jack Quaid's name attached to movies, like, oh, let's check this out. It's going to be fun.
Definitely.
And that was just proven again this week. Again, this week as well, it came out. We were talking about it last week, I think it was. The one with John Lithgow. Oh, what's it called again?
Jenny Penn.
Something Jenny Penn.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, but it came out it literally came out like in the last day or two. We haven't gotten it yet over here.
The Rule of Jenny Penn.
Yeah, we haven't gotten it here. I'm keeping a fucking close eye to see if I can get my hands on it. As soon as it pops up, we'll watch it, but the reviews for it are... Whew.
Speaking of John Lithgow, you got to check out his reaction from the Oscars.
Why?
Because Anora won this award. I can't remember which award it was, but the writers went up to not Anora, the Emilia Perez. So the writers went up to accept this award, and they started singing songs at the accepting it. And next thing, he looked like he was either crying or in pain, and he's just, I know nobody else can see it, but you see it, and he's just like he's after swallowing a lemon or something, but the camera just cut him at the wrong point. Yeah. I was just cringy, Josh. It was just a very cringy kind of like, not him. It was a very cringy moment in the Oscars, and I think he clearly felt it as well. But if we're going to check out a reaction from the Oscars, it's his.
Do you know what would be an absolutely awesome fucking pair to put into a movie? I mean, like,
Lithgow and Oldman.
I just thought of something awesome. I just thought of an absolute great fucking remake that could be made right now. Grumpy Old Men, starring John Lithgow and Danny fucking Devito. Tell me that movie would not be epic.
I haven't seen Grumpy Old Men.
It will be sweet. Or The Odd Couple or something along those lines. But Grumpy Old Men would be a good one.
There's a grumpier old man.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
It's Sophia Loren.
But this would be the two of them in a movie together being two cranky old assholes.
And Mr. Wilson.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that would be something else.
Watch that.
I think that's all our movie talk for this week. Before we go, we did our spotlight in the Horrorverse this week, and we did the 3rd episode in my first 4 parts on the origins of wrestling and the rise of the NWA.
Yeah.
And before we talk a little bit about wrestling, we have this whole month is going to be all Irish stuff and female empowerment stuff, because this is Women's Month, and it is also fucking Irish Month because St. Patrick's Day is in it. I'm going to stop calling it St. Patrick's Day. Just start calling it Patrick's Day. I hate this same bullshit.
Yeah. Patrick's Day or Paddy's Day, but not Patty's Day for anybody.
I don't like that either. But we're going to start that off this week, and you're going to do Mini Monsters, which comes out on Monday, and it's going to be about the Fomorians. And we will get well into that on It's a Live Action this week. And the wrestling talk won't be back for another 4 weeks, but before we leave wrestling in the back burner for 4 weeks, John Cena finally turned heel.
Finally.
Bad Cena. And everyone
Suits
else,
him.
I mentioned it on It's a Live Action. It was like, if no one else saw this coming, I saw it as soon as the Royal Rumble was over. As soon as he came out and did the press conference, and I could see he was crying. I didn't think we were going to get full-blown heel Cena. I thought we were going to get cranky old dad Cena, like, military dad.
Well, he does look like drop and give me 20 Cena. Like,
I need to teach these young guys a lesson. I need to snap you into shape. But I'm going to do it with hustle, loyalty, and respect. That's what I was expecting.
He reminded me of, do you know Small Monsters? Is it Small Monsters? Monsters. The one with Kirsten Dunst. And do you know the
Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers. But there's the army guy in that, and that's what his angry face reminds me of.
But it was done beautifully.
It was done perfectly.
It was great. And I mean, then you had Raw and Punk came out and he just fucking left rip on everybody, and that was hot. And I saw this completely ridiculous fucking. This side of wrestling I hate, but at the same time it's entertaining sometimes to see these posts. And there was this big long post by some guy on Facebook, and I don't know who it was, and it was no one official, but they were like talking about how the AEW people coming over, because what came out this week was the Jade Cargill, before she had been injured, went out in injury, had a falling out with Shayna Baszler backstage. Do you know who Shayna Baszler is?
Yeah.
The MMA maker. And that Shayna essentially said she was going to fight Jade, and that there's a bit of heat on Jade backstage with the women.
Because she wasn't just trained up, or
I don't know. I haven't heard exactly what caused it, but they were actually wrestling on TV at the time for tag titles back and forth. But whatever happened, she got shitty about it. And then Jade went missing for a little while. But then this person was pointing out it was like all the AEW guys who decided to leave, now they're going to suffer and they're going to feel it because all the WWE guys are starting to fight back. Apparently people were pissed off with all the stuff Punk said on Monday night. Punk was told to say that shit Monday night, and if he wasn't, they should have, because it was fucking hot. It started Raw on. I mean, Raw just started on fire. I was pumped up watching it. I literally remember, because you've heard me kind of be on and off about Punk because of the whole AEW stuff. It was like, why do people put up with the shit he did in AEW? It's not cool. And then at the same time, I was listening to his promo, and I just turned and walked away from the TV, and I was like, that's why he's the best. And it was he just opened the show with so much electricity that you were just fucking pumped. And he did it by laying into the Rock, laying into Cena, laying it, and just giving it to everybody. And it was like, that's what he's best at. And that feeling of being on the road to WrestleMania. And it's really special. The thing about it is, that's how I knew a few years ago that it was time for me to stop watching WWE. Was when I turned to you and I was like, WrestleMania means nothing to me now. It was like, I don't feel it. The matches are no different to any other pay-per-view match. Before WrestleMania was where you'd watch matches that would be absolutely fucking historic. Matches that you remember for generations upon generations. Matches you're never going to forget. And now they're just like every other pay-per-view, just in a bigger room. Yeah. And now since Triple H is back, has taken the reins, it's like, oh, this shit's heating up.
Again.
And that's how it used to feel. It used to feel like as soon as Royal Rumble had happened, everything just went into fucking high gear. Yeah. And then there was always this space between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania of 6 weeks, where you're like, 6 weeks? This is going to take forever. Yeah. But those 6 weeks would just be so hot and so heavy that you just like, yes, every fucking week. And that's what it feels like this year again. It feels like we're running in and everything is just going crazy and all the plans are just being tossed and turned and twisted at you, and you don't know what's going to fucking happen next. I mean, who the fuck saw Rhea Ripley dropping the title before WrestleMania? Obviously to set up a triple threat. And then I mean, they decided they're giving away this Rollins CM Punk cage match on Monday for free instead of holding it for Mania, just to let everybody know Roman's going to march his ass in there. He's going to fucking disrupt that match, and that match is also going to be a 3-way. And then we got Paul Heyman's little favor for Punk.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Waiting to fucking be played at
That's
Mania.
Still there.
So I mean, like, there's so many interesting balls in the air right now. There's still more to come.
Interesting balls.
Yep. And this Rock John Cena thing is definitely the most interesting part of it. Like I
have the most interesting balls.
They do. They got very interesting balls. It's why they make it in Hollywood. So this week, remember, we are kicking off. We're not going to give away the topic just yet, but we are kicking off with Irish subjects for the next few weeks.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to this week's one. Here's a clue. We have covered it in Mini Monsters at one stage in the past. And it
quite
is
a broad
not
clue.
The Leprechaun series.
We've done the Leprechaun.
We haven't done the Leprechaun.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I thought we have for Mini Monsters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a Mini Monsters, an old Irish one. We have done it, and we're going to do Mini Monsters this week with the Fomorians, and we're going to talk all about that and the Book of Conquests and stuff like that. And it's a live action. We have Playing with Bones season 2 coming back this week, and we're cracking on with great women of history for the month of March. Do you want to tell them who's this week, or do you want to keep it a secret?
We'll keep it a secret. You can come over and listen.
Huh?
They're not exactly, I wouldn't say great women, but more kind of forgotten women. 1 or 2 are great women, but 1 or 2 are kind of more forgotten. They are great women, but there's not a whole load there.
They're in history. They're great women. We're going to talk. Well, it's not like what you're saying. Basically,
I'm not going to talk about the Queen. It's
not your stereotypical people
what
you know already.
We're
going for a deep dive to find names you mightn't recognize, but are still great and need to be recognized.
There's 1 or 2 that recognize. Yeah.
So I like that. We're going to crack on with that. That's going to be fun. Let's give that a try. So enjoy this week in the Horrorverse. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be Irish. You.
Slán.